we go. We are live. We're live in a pre-show. Yeah, no, this is not the patio, Tommy. This is actually the new studio. Had to use it. There's a shot that I took this morning as we were setting up. As you can see, it's not ready for prime time. But we thought we'd give it a go. I had intended to use this as a place where I could build PCs initially, but the internet back at the home studio it was just like fighting a losing battle to get. I mean, the upload speed today in the home studio is 0.01. Yeah, and sometimes not even that. So we've got some space over here that we're going to dedicate for building PCs. This area right here will probably be recrafted into a live streaming studio set where we can bring other folks in. And then all of this will go over there so that it's looking this way. We'll see. These things are never, they never end up the way you think. And you're always making changes. Audio is low. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, let's see what we can do about that without making it too outrageous. Check, 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 check.
You hear me all right?
Ah, and Eric's here. All right, let's put Eric on the mute for just a second. Yes, Eric, we can hear you. Let me figure out how we're going to get you into this show. We may have to do just a quick vMix side by side, because you're not going to fit well into our normal setup. So sit tight with me here just a second. Let's do that. And let's do that. And let's do call guest number one. Where's guest number one? Right there. There we go. There we go. All right, so we are in pre-show now. We'll bring Eric back in. Eric, can you hear us?
There ain't no show like the pre-show. I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
And after the show is the after show.
That is. And you know what comes after that? The post-after show. Yeah. Okay, well, I want to welcome all the folks that are watching us on Facebook, all the folks that are watching us on YouTube, and Eric is popped in to make sure we have all our details arranged for later for the show, and he's got us on a selfie and buddy stick. So there we go. Hey, that looks pretty good. Let's see what kind of internet, what kind of resolution are you able to send me right now? Yeah, we're still at 240, but that's okay.
Is this on Facebook, Tom?
Yes, it is.
Where is it on? It'd be on Eastern Shore Broadcasting.
Actually, we'll probably be on the Streaming Idiots group, so unless you're a member of the group, you're not going to see it.
If you're not a member of the group, you're not going to see it.
But it is on YouTube.
It is on YouTube.
So you can go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click the Watch Live tab.
Go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click the live button, and it'll take you to the YouTube channel.
There you go. Couldn't be any simpler. Couldn't be any simpler. All right, Eric. So don't tell me anything. We got to save all the bullets for later. All the big.
It's a secret. You don't even know where I am. You can't even tell them at a trade show.
Yeah, that's right. I don't even recognize where you are, like I was only there 2 months ago. Yeah.
I don't recognize where I am. I've never been in North Hall before. Who the heck goes to North Hall?
Oh, North Hall. Okay.
It's different at InfoComm, because at InfoComm, North Hall is the South Hall. There is no South Hall at InfoComm.
Gotcha. Is there a main hall?
There is a Central, but Central is like Central at NAB.
It is. It's the Wild Wild West. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, North Hall at InfoComm, this is where like the PTZ cameras are. PTZ Optics is here. Who else is here? Unilumen, Rico, Absen. There's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
So you want to do dinner tonight? Are you coming?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be right over.
You got to catch your wife. What do you mean? Is she running?
She's working, and I have the car.
Okay, we'll just we'll have Eric in the green room here for a few minutes as he makes his dinner plans and his entertainment plans for InfoComm. Is he treating dinner for all of us? That's right. That is the question, Rich. Is he going to be the one to do that? All right, we've got just a few minutes here. Since we had to put Eric into a funny little setup, we need to do something different. So we're gonna have this. We're gonna have him in the side by side, which vMix does automatically, but we're gonna add some graphics and some lower third kind of stuff to that. So let's do that real quickly before we get too far into stuff. Graphics, and we want to see the Streaming Idiots logo. Is that something we're interested in? Let's go with large icons. One of the things I love about vMix is that you can just go to Windows Explorer, find what you want, drag and drop it into your vMix production, and there it is. So, yeah, here we go. Let's bring that one in. No, let's don't bring it in there. Let's bring it in on the show. Well, yeah, we'll bring it in on the show tab. So we'll bring that in. And what else can we bring in? Okay. So we're going to work with this, and we're going to add this to it, but we're going to cut it up first so that it sort of fits. So we'll go to multi-view, and we'll add number 73. Appreciate your patience. It's not like you have a whole lot of choice. Sorry about that. That was really rude, wasn't it? Oh my goodness. So rude, so rude, so rude, so rude. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go up there. There we go. Okay. All right, so that'll work. And now we'll get a title for Eric and a title for me. So let's add a title. We'll add some blank text. We'll make 2 copies of it. And let's see, we'll put one there. So we need to change that, make that Tom Sinclair Streaming Idiots. And we will take that one and take it out. And then let's go ahead and position that where it needs to be. So position, we'll just drag it underneath there. This is just really quickly. Is that centered-ish? Yeah. Okay, so let's make a copy of that one that says Tom. And let's add it there. Where'd it go? We'll try again. Okay. So we'll go there. And we'll move it over here. And then we'll go and edit it and make it Shay. Eric Pratt. If I could spell, I would be dangerous. Okay, so that's quick and dirty. So we've got that one ready to go. And then, of course, we've got this shot that we can, whoops. Yeah, so let's go back to number 72, which is this one, and we'll add 74 and 75 to it on the multi-view. 74 and 75. So now we've got one shot, that's good. And we'll just make those smaller. Got it, got it, got it. All right. And then we need to redo our shortcut real quick. So we'll say edit. We're using X keys. I've got a button already. I don't know what the button is. The button is number 4. Okay, so we'll cancel that. And we'll look down the list for number 4. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. There it is. Merge. So let's edit. And the merge is going to be on number 72 now. Right there. Okay. Okay. So when we go to that shot and we go back to that shot, it merges. And then the guest only is going to be there. There we go. Okay, so we're all set. And it's time to get this show on the road. All right, so we got Eric on standby in the green room. And a big shout out to those of you that are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, the Streaming Idiots. We're trying to get the things organized. As you can tell, things, or maybe you can't tell, but this is the new studio. We didn't really intend to stream from here today, but it just so happened that enough things fell together that we could do that. So this is a Logitech C920 that's thumbtacked to the wall. Don't tell my landlord about it. So it's that with like a 20-foot extension cord, which you're not supposed to use with Logitech. So if there's any problem with that camera, it's because I'm using it in a way it was not designed. And we might talk about this here in a little bit, but for the most part, we're going to stay with this shot, at least to start with. It's not our typical pre-show shot, and obviously things are not the same. The aspect, I mean, I'm bigger than I should be and other things because of that stupid green screen behind me. Anyway, we'll fix all that. But hey, if you're watching us on YouTube directly, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com. Whoops, there it was. And then you can get in on the chat because there are about, I don't know, a couple dozen folks in chat, and they're having a big old time making fun of me mostly. But you don't want to miss that. So come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and get in on the chat. If you're watching us on Facebook, love your comments, but we're not monitoring those during the show because there's just only but so much you can look at. But we are looking at the chat at easternshorebroadcasting.com. So come on over there and get in on the show. And plus, it's a 1080 video, and I think it's just 720 on YouTube. I mean, on Facebook. So come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com to get in on the chat and on the super high, well, not super high, but high definition. Hey, it's nice to be back. We've been gone for 2 weeks, and not intentionally, but we'll tell you a little bit about that in just a second. Bigger than life. Sync is fine, says E-Tonic. Thank you. Similar to the 50-foot Martin. That's right. That's right. And if you have me on your 55-inch or your 70-inch, it should be frightening. And Ken says the YouTube stream seems in sync. Well, thank you. Anderson says, Tom, your shot looks kind of tight. Well, Anderson, you kind of have to do what you kind of have to do when you're working with a temporary studio. This is just it. So Yes, the green screen should have been oriented the other direction, yeah. And this is just temporary. This is the pop-up kind. We'll bring our big 12 by 20 or whatever it is, our fabric down in here. So we'll be working on that one. But suffice to say, this is what you're stuck with for today. Yeah, almost as much fun as an aquarium on your monitor. There you go. So let's see. Yeah, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com. Get in on the chat. Get in on the 1080p feed, and make fun of me. John says YouTube is about 130 milliseconds off. Is that in terms of audio, Jan? Really? Because I think I have my audio 120 milliseconds delayed. That would be interesting. So if you think YouTube is off, how about a little clap test here? Well, you know, the old clap test. Is that going to work? Do you hear the room echo when I do that? I do. All right, Amnon says it's 110 milliseconds. Wow. Well, then let's just take the delay back to 10 milliseconds. Okay. So is the audio out ahead now? Yeah, Dave says the audio is ahead. So let's stop fixing things. We'll take it back to 120 and leave it there. All right? Can we do that? All right. So now we're back to 120. Okay. And then isn't that funny that it would be, Jan says it's worse now. Well, give it a second to catch up. Give it a second to catch up. Anderson says, now you are very much out of sync. And, you know, the funny thing is that different people, depending on where you are, you're seeing this not in real time, but you're seeing it in delay, latency. Might be, you know, might be 10 seconds some places, might be 40 seconds some places. Jan says the audio is too fast, so I should slow down my speaking. Not really. Not really. So we'll give everybody a chance to kind of catch up to where we are right now with 120. And Etonic says the audio is still leading, but it depends on what you're watching. Are you watching Facebook? Are you watching YouTube? Are you watching our website, which of course is YouTube? So Rudy says it's still okay. No matter what I do, it's okay with him. Jamie says in North Carolina, it's perfectly synced. Anderson says after you set it back to 120, you are perfect here. Anderson, little secret, I'm perfect everywhere. Just teasing, just teasing. All right, well, we're going to give this a go. Danny says it looks pretty tight in San Diego, so if it looks good in San Diego, it's got to look good everywhere else. And Dave says it's good in Toronto. All right, well, Mike from Texas is here. Chris is here. Dave, Kenny, Jerome, Rudy, Jan. Scott is Podworks, so welcome, Scott. Honored to have you here. Amnon's here. Steve's here. Anderson, Etronic, Mark, Dave Edwards, Mike L. That would be Mike Lotta, I bet. Martin K., Rich, Matt, Tommy, Paul. Matt, glad you're here. Matt and I are friends on Facebook today. Jamie's here. Ryan's here. Ken, Hassan, Doggy, Martin, John O'Malley. Wow. Golly, geez. TV Todd, Danny, Hamjet, and Elmar. Cool. Did I say Jan? And I know Marie was here earlier when we were doing the testing. So if I missed you, I apologize. Jerome, did I give you a shout out, Jerome? Okay, just checking. Just checking. All right. So and Anderson is such a suck up today. He says even now you come back, you look even younger. That must be it. That must be it. I just pulled my hair back, which I think makes it look darker. That's probably what it is. All right. Oh, Marie's still here. She's just not showing up on my list. Okay, good. Well, I'm delighted. All right. So enough of this idle chit chat. We're still in pre-show. We've got Eric Pratt standing by in Las Vegas, and so let's get the show on the road and see if we can have some fun. All right. Sit back, relax, leave the driving to us. Hey, welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and this is Streaming Idiots. I am so glad you're here because for the last 2 weeks, I haven't been here. Oh, man, it is a casebook study in how not to do live streaming. Well, actually, we didn't do any live streaming because our internet was, you can't say any of those words. I know you can really because it's just internet, but I'm not going to. But the internet was terrible, like 0.0 fill in the blank. It doesn't matter what other numbers you put up after that. So we're here in a temporary, actually it's our new studio, but we've set up a temporary set for this show. Let me show you a live shot of this show. Yeah, this is the set today. Yeah. You know, isn't it amazing what you can do with a green screen? So we got lights, we got camera, we got monitors, we got, you can't see it out of the side, but our rack mount system's over there covered up with stuff trying to not make noise. You can see we've got a tile floor and empty walls, no soundproofing at all, or noise reduction attempts. And so I'm using a different mic. I don't know if you can tell. It's an Audio-Technica ATR 2100, a dynamic mic, a cardioid dynamic, which means that basically the long and short of it is it ignores a lot of other ambient noise, like the echo in the room. I don't know if you can hear the room echo. Anyway, so we're in the temporary studio, and this will be where we build our streaming PCs in the future off over here, and we're going to put a wall up and make that, and then put an official set here so we can bring folks in and get some local folks doing live streaming shows. It's going to be so cool to do. You know, my model for this is Scott out in Las Vegas and Cliff up in New York, and of course Amnon in North Carolina. So, and I've had the chance to visit 2 out of those 3 studios, and I hope I get to do the 3rd one. So we're on internet today. Yes, we started out the morning, we were on a Verizon hotspot that gave us 7 megs down and 7 megs up. And then, because AT&T was supposed to be installed tomorrow, well, they called this morning and said, hey, we're here. Where are you? So I hustled up here to the new studio, the new digs, and let the guy put it in. And he said, let me go. I got to go across the street and go up the pole and hook up the line. Yeah, 3 hours later, we had internet. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We've got 100 down and 20 up, and it seems to be pretty consistent. We're using about 6 of the 20 right now. We're going to YouTube at 1080p, 30 frames a second, 4.5 megabits per second is our bit rate, and then Facebook at 720p 30, 1.5 megabits per second. The system that we're using today is our typical studio system, but I built another system that I want to use in the studio here as soon as I can bring it up here and get it installed in the rack. The system we've got today, actually there are 2 systems. We've got some 2nd generation i7s. You know, they're up to the 8th generation now, so these are the old guys. But it's amazing what you can do. A vMix is so powerful even on old hardware. So we've got some i7 2600, I think 3.0, 3.2 gigahertz. One of them's overclocked to about 4 with some solid state drives, and of course 16 gigs of RAM in each one. That's the deal that vMix works best with. And so we're doing the production on one, and then we're doing streaming and recording on a second one. off to the side, and they're using NDI to pass the video back and forth as needed. I've got Eric Pratt from U.S. Broadcast Distribution in the green room right now. We're going to bring him in just a second. And he's on a vMix call from his phone from the floor of InfoComm in the Las Vegas Convention Center, where they don't really have much good bandwidth. Or they do, but you have to pay $1,000 a day to get it. Anyway, so Eric's there and is going to come in with a live report from InfoComm and talk about the Yuan capture card people, because they've got like 900 different capture cards and various other devices there that they're showing at InfoComm. And so since we've just picked up the Yuan line, we wanted to talk about some of them. Some of them we're going to go into real depth about, but the others we're just going to briefly go over. The mic today, as I mentioned, is the Audio-Technica ATR 2100. It's going into a Behringer, not a Behringer mixer, but Behringer audio interface, which is kind of like a mixer, except it doesn't mix. It has, this particular one is the UMC 404 HD, which has 4 XLR or quarter-inch inputs, and then USB to the PC, where each of the inputs comes in as its own separate audio device. I really like that setup. It means that you can add noise gate, you can put a little compression on somebody if they're a screamer. Excuse me, goodness. If they're a screamer, you can, excuse me just a second. Oh, did you see that we had these made up? If you were at NAB, you got one of these. You got to be at NAB next year. Come on, don't forget. NAB next year, Las Vegas. Start saving now. Hang on a second. Lemonade, love it. Okay, so the Behringer UMC 404 HD is a great device. It allows you to, if you've got a screamer or a burper or somebody that makes a lot of loud racket all of a sudden, you can put a little compression on them in vMix because you can control just that audio source. So it's really, really cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. What else are we using here today? Oh, our main cam is the PTZ Optics 12X coming to us over SDI today, coming into an SDI capture card in the PC. And then we've got this quick and dirty far offset, the Logitech C920, which is thumbtacked to the wall, don't tell my landlord, with a 30-foot cord. So it's definitely pretty interesting. So the new studio we'll be putting together when we get things more than just temporary or at least further along than they are now, we'll come back and do a real studio tour. So it will be something that you can look forward to, or not, as the case may be. Normally we're using an Audio-Technica AT897 boom mic that'll sit up over here and is just out of the shot and pointed right at my mouth, which is great, and I love it, and I love not being tethered by a microphone or have to worry about cords or batteries or anything like that. I've got the Audio-Technica ATR 2100. Just sitting on the desktop, and it comes with its own little stand, which is kind of nice, and it's about, I'd say about 18, 20 inches from my mouth, pointed right at the mouth. So if the audio is not exactly what it sounded like in the past, that's why, because it's different. That's right. For lights, we've still got 6 LED bulbs that are going, well, we'll get back to that shot again. 6 LED bulbs in the little silver cans, like this one down here, that are illuminating the green screen, and then the 2 big umbrellas with LEDs, all the same color. And then I've got fluorescents overhead, but they're cut off today because I didn't want to mix up, didn't want to confuse the camera as it was trying to do lighting. So there we go. Congratulations to Brandon Adams, who got a free vMix Pro license from at the Streaming Awards last week. And oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Streaming Awards last week. Yeah, thank you. This is what I should have started out the show with. Thank you, thank you. As Gomer Pyle would say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Tommy knows about that one. Thank you very much. I really am honored because I was nominated, not even by myself this time, by somebody else, thank you. But and elected or voted in as the number one, what would you call it, male host, Streaming Awards top male host for 2018. So 2018 is not even over yet. So it was a pretty good deal, but thank you. I appreciate the honor, and I will wear my banner proudly. But I haven't gotten a banner yet, so anyway. So it was fun to be the top male host, and yeah, and as Brandon says, I was fourth overall, but top male was the one that I was shooting for, because I knew I wasn't going to have. There were two schools in it, and they had all the students and all the parents and grandparents that were voting for them. They had thousands and thousands of votes. So, enough of that idle chit chat. Let's get to the good stuff, shall we? We have got Eric Pratt standing by. Now, a funny story about Eric, I'm going to tell you before he gets here. I had a dream about Eric before I even knew him, and he's over there. He's blushing now. I can tell. Either that or his phone camera is going screwy, and he was playing that character in The Wizard of Oz. You know, the professor. And he was selling some snake oil something. And then like 3 months later, I met him for the first time, and I said, "This is the guy from my dream." Anyway, so I had to get over that. But as it turns out, I really like Eric and have found him to be a great resource. He is with U.S. Broadcast Distribution, and they represent Yuan. Let's without any further ado, let me bring his mic up, and we'll bring Eric into the show. Eric, are you there?
Snake oil.
Snake oil, yes indeed, snake oil. You had that to overcome, and you did great with it. You didn't even know you were overcoming it.
I didn't, but I'm glad I've overcome your psychic version of me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So Eric is coming to us live. You can tell by the noise in the background from the floor of the North Hall at Las Vegas Convention Center, InfoComm 2018. Eric, thank you so much for coming on the show and bringing us an InfoComm report and talking a little bit about Yuan.
Thanks for having us. It's kind of exciting for me to do a live show with my cell phone. It's exciting in the sense that it's kind of, I'm on pins and needles as if I'm going to get through this whole thing.
Anything could happen.
So
yes.
Now that everybody at home knows that I'm running this off my cell phone at a trade show, which is ordinarily one of the most difficult places to broadcast from, we did do a pre-test, several different tests. We do have good LTE right here, so we're going to give it a shot.
All right. So show us around the booth. Show us what's going on with Yuan.
Yeah. So
Grand
we're
tour.
at the Yuan booth. Yeah. I'll give you guys a little bit of an overview. For those of you who aren't familiar with Yuan, they're actually the largest manufacturer of capture cards in the world. You might be surprised to learn that in case you haven't heard of them before. But they actually make hundreds of different kinds of capture cards, converters, and streaming products. A very small number of which you might be familiar with. Here we have just a very small number of some of the more popular cards. And down here is the Yuan UB535, and that product you're more familiar with, probably their UVC SDI to USB 3. And then up here we have some of their live streaming products. So they actually have a product that does single channel SDI and HDMI over 4G or LTE or LAN. So they have a bunch of different streaming products and capture cards, which we'll get into more in a moment. They also make a bevy of different converters. So they've got 12G to SDI, 4 quad channel SDI to 12G, splitters, up-down cross converters, you name it. So they've actually got a lot of different products that they sell. Their capture cards are what people are most familiar with, but they also do the conversion as well as the streaming products. To give you a more specific example,
Whoops, looks like we've temporarily lost Eric.
slash.
Oh, there he is, coming back.
Okay, sorry, my phone rang. I guess that cut me off. How dare they call me in the middle of a live stream? So this is a 4-channel streaming slash encoder. So it's got 4 channels of SDI going in, and you can see all 4 of them on the screen here. They're actually the same image, which is kind of confusing, but these are actually 4 individual different SDI streams being encoded, and now you see them here in vMix. Each individual stream is showing up as an input. They're using this box here to capture the RTSP stream into vMix, and then a 5th channel, which is a quad split. And I know it's a lot of pictures of the same person, so it's a little bit confusing, but this is SDI1, SDI2, SDI3, SDI4, and then this is SDI, this 5th is a mix down. And then this one is actually taking that stream and decoding it and putting it on the screen. So they've got some really interesting products here. That's one of the ones that I wanted to focus on. One of the other ones that I think you guys might be really interested in is this new one due out next month. This is the PD570 Pro 4K. This is a 60p 4K HDMI to USB-C, USB 3. So that's an exciting product. We're really looking forward to that. The SDI version of that product is sold so well that we've had trouble keeping it in stock. And then the other neat new thing that they've got here at the show, we're big fans of their M.2 cards, and so they've just shown me this. This is a 4-channel M.2 card and 4-channel SDI. And they've got a 4-channel HDMI as well. And what we do is we stick these in a NUC from a company called Switchblade. And I don't know how well that's showing up there, but that's basically currently a 2-channel SDI to vMix solution in a 4x4-inch box. And the last interesting thing that I wanted to show you guys about is Yuan does a lot of 4K solutions. They've had a 4K, 4-channel 4K HDMI product that's been out for quite a while. I'll take you around to the backside so you can see the guts of the innards, so to speak. So this is the inside of the system. So there's 4 channels of 4K HDMI, and then this one down here is 4 channels of 6G SDI. So they're taking 4 of these 6G cameras and plugging them in to vMix. And then if you have any questions, now would be a good time. And then the Yuan folks are free. I could introduce you to them. If you like that.
That sounds great, Eric. Let's see if anybody in the chat has got some questions about that. I am mightily interested in that M.2 card. That has all sorts of possibilities. Holy cow!
Yes, you think that would fit in a lot of different places.
It would. It would. I like.
Let me introduce you to Wendy.
Hi.
So this is Wendy from. Let me try
Hi,
to
Wendy.
frame us up. Yeah. So this is Wendy from Yuan, and she's our national sales manager. She's the sales manager for Yuan in the U.S.
Well, I'm sorry that you got stuck with Eric, but that we'll try to do better next time. We're delighted to have you on the show, though.
No, he's a nice guy.
Wendy and I get along great. And there's other great people that work here. HP is he's their technical guy, so he handles all of the SDK stuff. Andrea, she's the busy person. She's writing down all of the notes for all of the customers that are stopping by the booth because they're collecting their information in good old analog fashion. on paper. No digital recording here at the Yuan booth. So where should I take this from here? I mean, we can literally go anywhere at this point. I could take you on a tour of InfoComm, or I can head back to the Yuan booth.
Well, Eric, you also mentioned earlier that Yuan had converters, microconverters, I guess like HDMI to SDI and things of that genre.
Yes. So there are, this whole wall here is of converters, and their new converters are the 4K converter series, but they've got a long provenance of HD converters. They've got an SDI to fiber, fiber to SDI, SDI to SDI with Genlock, SDI splitters, repeaters, SDI to HDMI, HDMI to SDI with Genlock, SDI to HDMI with picture-in-picture, all different kinds. Pretty much any kind of combination of SDI that you can imagine.
Holy cow.
And I know there's the multi-SDI HDMI up-down cross converter. This is a fun one because this one will take in component DVI, SDI, and put it out as HDMI, VGA. I'm not even clear what all this thing will do. This will do just about anything to anything. So they've got just about anything that you can imagine. Like I said, they've got more products than even I can really keep track of, which says they've got a lot of products.
Eric, if I was interested in a particular converter or to see what the line has looked like, would they all be on the Yuan website?
Yes. Yeah, everything's up there. They keep their website pretty well up to date. In fact, their website is somewhat prescient in that they sometimes show products as shipping, which are not actually shipping. For example, the 4-channel 6G SDI product has been listed as being available for several months, but we don't expect to get our first shipment in for a couple of weeks. Which I already showed you guys.
Yeah, that's just supply chain stuff. That's supply chain stuff.
Yeah.
And what is the Yuan website?
It's yuan.com.tw.
There you go. So these folks are in Taiwan. The people.
Yep.
Okay. The Kenny was asking about the Ada camera. Can you show us the Ada camera again? Talk about it a little bit.
6G HD. There's a couple of them here. So probably the neat one, the one that's is this guy here. So this is a 6G SDI, removable CS, interchangeable CS lenses. It's got iris control on it, and we're bringing that in. We're bringing that in via their 6G card, and then we've got a regular HD version. So this one's Genlockable. It's got HDMI and SDI and Genlock on it. And that's the one that we're feeding into the splice.
Very good.
And they also have a 4K HDMI one, which we've actually sold a number of because it's a very inexpensive way of getting 4K HDMI with an interchangeable lens and a small box camera form factor. So I find that they're really interesting cameras, and they really partner well with the Yuan products, from our standpoint at least, as we distribute both of them. One other thing I should point out here, in a lot of ways, I kind of almost take this for granted, and I probably shouldn't. Just about every system on this booth is running vMix. So if I'll just take you on a quick vMix tour of the booth. So this is vMix HD on the splice. This is vMix Pro doing the 4 channels of 6G. This is vMix 4K doing I guess they're using one of their USB 3 boxes. And then this is vMix 4K, taking the RTSP stream from this box here and decoding it. So it's 4 copies of vMix running on one booth. It makes it easy for me to point it out as being the de facto product for interfacing with Yuan. Though
There you go.
I will point out that there are many other, not many other programs, there are many other ways of interfacing with the Yuan products. They have an SDK, so you can, a lot of people, in fact, they say 90% of their customers interface with their cards via their SDK. So they develop their own applications and interface. They use programs like FFmpeg and their SDK to create their own solutions, because the Yuan products are used in a lot more than just streaming and broadcast. They're used in military, medical, aviation, security, almost any application where you'd want to bring video into a digital environment. So they have a very extensive SDK.
All right. All right. Guest 816 in the chat is asking if you have bounced off of any NDI devices that might have been introduced there at InfoComm.
We don't answer to guests. Sorry. NDI devices. The only still looks like it's BTZ Optics still has their cameras. I don't think Bird Dog is here. An interesting point, a note to point out is that Yuan is working on an application which lets all of their capture cards behave as NDI devices. So you can take, like, for example, that 4-channel 4K card, pop it into a system without running any other application on it, and it will show up as 4 channels of 4K NDI, as long as you've got enough bandwidth to accommodate that. So the Yuan stuff is NDI related, even if they don't have specifically an NDI encoder.
Got it.
But as far as getting around the show, I've been pretty much welded to the booth.
Sure. I get that.
So I haven't seen much. By all means, let me know. Is there something that I should be checking out? I've got a very limited window in order to get around the show, so I need to optimize and crowdsource my time there.
All right, we will do that. Folks, if you're just joining us, this is Streaming Idiots. I'm Tom Sinclair, your host. With me is Eric Pratt, who is representing Yuan. Used to be just kind of known as the capture card folks, but now they're doing all sorts of amazing things. Eric is coming to us live from InfoComm at Las Vegas Convention Center, and is parked there at the Yuan booth. He does represent Yuan in the United States of America. Looks like we've got a question here in the chat. This is Danny Galley. Never mind. He wants to know what time you're taking the products into the parking lot. So we won't pay any attention to that question.
They'll be on a flight bound for Taiwan on Friday night.
That's right. Well, this is really good. Now, Eric, you are stocking a large number of Yuan products here in the U.S., which allows me as a reseller to have easy access to virtually anything that's literally here in the United States. We just got a box of capture cards from you the other day, and guest 816 says Amazon or P&H to purchase these products. No, actually, you come to Eastern Shore Broadcasting to purchase these products.
Yeah, it's better to shop. It's definitely better to shop local. It is possible to purchase these things elsewhere, but if you think about the level of support that you're going to get from a local reseller, that's definitely going to the difference in price is definitely going to be well paid over, even if there is a difference in price, which, since we control the map, I think the price would be the same if you purchased it on any of those places. So you basically if you're purchasing it from Tom, you're also getting the support and understanding that he brings to it, and obviously the personal touch. So shop local, people.
Well, and we
Or
actually,
shop personal.
yeah, that's right.
If you're
That's
not
right.
local.
We've actually got some of the Yuan 4-port HDMI capture cards on, and after the show today, we're going to put those on sale in our little store at Eastern Shore Broadcasting. So if you're interested, you'll want to check those out. Not 4K, just 1080p, but 1080p 64 four channons of
By all means,
HDMI.
put the 4K ones on sale. I've got a huge inventory of them.
Oh, do you? Okay, all right.
It's only $100 more. You can get the 4K.
Well, then I
4-port.
need to do that too. So we'll get together after this, and I'll get some model numbers and some info. That's great. Very good. Well, Eric, I really appreciate you breaking away from all of the folks there at NAB. I mean, excuse me, at InfoComm, because I know it's
hard to keep
it's
it
the reason
straight.
you're there. Yeah, yeah. It's one show after another.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing more of these new things coming down the line. And I really appreciate your time today. I think, let me check my notes, because there generally is something in my notes that I want to make sure that we talk about. Oh,
There's
I know
a
what
lot
it was.
here.
Well, but I wanted to give a shout out to you and thank you because you donated a Yuan product that we gave away at the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB,
Yep.
and that was the 1080p USB stick.
Yeah, they're a
That-
very popular product, and obviously the sequel we just posted, we just showed you there, the PD570 is that 4K version. It is being billed as the world's smallest 4K 60p USB capture device, and I believe them.
Hey, Eric, while we're talking about that, somebody was complaining the other day because they had a similar
Yeah.
product that was just getting really, really hot. And so they drilled a bunch of holes in it to let the heat out. Can you speak to that for a second?
Yeah, let me tell you something interesting about the Yuan products. You're probably pretty familiar with the products of other manufacturers, and I won't name names, but they use FPGAs. And there's nothing wrong with using FPGAs. It's a great way for a manufacturer to develop a product rapidly, because you just buy this generic FPGA. And for those that don't know what an FPGA is, it's a field programmable gate array. And it's just a chip, and you just download the software onto it, and it does what you want it to do. So you get an engineer and programs. A more technically challenging, time-consuming and intensive process is an ASIC. And an ASIC is a not field programmable. It's a burned chip. The advantage is that an ASIC runs a lot cooler than an FPGA. So an FPGA is a generic chip that you're programming, whereas an ASIC is a very specific, it's literally the chip itself has been designed to run that program. So it runs a lot cooler. Now, most manufacturers of capture cards use FPGAs because of the reasons I mentioned earlier. Yuan uses ASICs. If you look behind me at every single one of these capture cards, every capture card on this booth, there is not a single heat sink on any one of these. And that's not for display purposes. That they literally don't need heat sinks because they run so cool, because they're ASICs. And that's not something that you generally run into in the industry. Almost everybody else uses FPGAs, which have these large heat sinks on them, and put out a lot of heat. Because think of it, if you know the difference between a CPU and a GPU is a more specialized chipset for certain applications, whereas a CPU, did I say that right? A CPU is a more generalized. I'm losing myself. CPU is a more generalized processing unit. You can run any kind of program that you want on it. The GPU is a very specific chip, and it's designed to do certain things, but does them a lot better than a CPU. That might be confusing because GPUs run pretty hot, but that's just because we've been running them really fast. So not really a great explanation. But in a nutshell, the ASICs run a lot cooler, so they don't put out really quite as much heat, which is why, for example, this UVC device, this 4K 60p block here, smallest in the world because it's got ASICs inside. Same thing with these M.2 cards. So these M.2 cards, if you were to make a 4-input card from somebody else, it would have giant heat sinks on it. And usually M.2 cards are trying to fit in tiny places. Putting a giant heat sink on an M.2 card doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's the heat issue with Yuan. I know there's something else I wanted to say there too. Oh, something else interesting about the Yuan cards. If you look at a lot of comparable products, so like where's their 8-channel? So they've got this 8-channel SDI card. You're gonna notice something very different from other 8-channel SDI cards, besides that it doesn't have any heat sinks on it. It's a 4-lane PCIe card, and they've got some magic that lets them do that. Most 8-channel cards are 8-lane, and that is not a sacrifice of anything in particular. So their cards can fit in smaller slots, electrically, not just physically. It's a
Very
minor point of
cool.
contention, but if you don't have any free 8x slots and you've got free 4x slots, you can put an 8-channel card in there, meaning that you've got a lot more flexibility when you're using Yuan.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Eric, we could talk all day. We could talk all day, and one day we will, but not today.
Yeah. Look, we can just do this again tomorrow. I could just go to a different booth.
We could. Well, you represent so many companies, we could do a different one of your companies every day. That's right.
That'd be fun.
We could do it. Well, a lot of
Yeah.
lot of impressed folks in chat today, and I among them. And I look forward to learning more about the differences as we bring this new line on. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on today. We a little bit over time, so we need to wrap up.
Yep.
But
All right.
we will have you back on again, and thank you for your time today.
One last little thing.
But of
4K
course.
streaming encoder.
Ah,
HDMI to H.264, RTMP, RTSP, MPEG TS, and WebRTC.
I like
That's
it.
That's it for me. I'll
All
let
right.
you guys go.
Good. Thank
Thanks
you,
for
my
having
friend.
me.
You bet. You bet. It was great
All
having
right.
you
Take
here.
care, guys.
All right.
Goodbye.
Big, big shout out and thank you to Eric for coming on the show today. He's a treat. He really is a character, and you know, there is no snake oil at all. That was just a bad dream. Interesting stuff that he's got there, and we'll bring Eric back on again at some point when he's got a better connection, and we can talk a little bit more in depth about some of these kinds of things. It has been great having you on the show with me today. If any of this interests you, you can shoot me a note. Whoops, right there. The contact information, easternshorebroadcasting.com. That's us. Streaming Idiots is produced every Wednesday afternoon except the last 2 weeks at 3 o'clock Eastern to bring you all sorts of information and cool stuff about live streaming. I mean, obviously, this is just a giant infomercial for my company, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. The Streaming Idiots show is. So if I can assist you with a Yuan product, you've heard a lot about it, many of those today, or PTZ Optics cameras, or Magewell capture cards, or capture devices, a licensed, not licensed. What would be the right word? I guess an authorized vMix reseller. In fact, I'm the #1 vMix reseller in the U.S. Second year in a row, 2016 and 2017, and we're hoping for 2018 too. We also represent X keys. I got my little X key, XK24 there, and another big one that I can't wait to put into use that the folks at X Keys sent me. So if I can help you with any of that, or we also design and build PCs for live streaming. So if you need something for an environment that you just can't get off the shelf, or you don't trust off the shelf, or you don't want to deal with all the support yourself and you want somebody responsible for all the hardware and the software, give us a call, shoot us a note. That's what we do. We love doing that all the time. So on behalf of all of these great products, I want to thank you for coming in today. And coming up next week, oh, this is going to be so much fun. Next week, we've got Miranda from X Keys coming on to talk, and this might be her first, or one of her very first, live show appearances. So you will not want to miss that. She'll be on to talk about the whole X Keys lineup, and it'll be a ton of fun. That's next Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern. Be there. Don't be late. Don't be late. Don't be late. Okay, cool. It's great having you here. Hang around for the post show if you're watching us live, and we'll catch you next week. Bye now. And we're out. Yes, we are. All right. All right. It was great having Eric on. Great having Eric on. I would invite you guys to join me. Oh, and Eric is still here. Oh, well, let's bring him back in. But I have been invited to be on Karen's show, Karen Glasser, with the Little White Lie. It's on Facebook today at 4 o'clock Eastern. So if you're not doing anything at 4 o'clock Eastern, 4:30 Eastern, pop on and come in and say hello. Karen has invited me and Stephen Healy on. We were all three in the top 10 of the streaming awards this year, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. That's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be cross-posted at Eastern Shore Broadcasting on Facebook. So by all means, let's bring Eric back in. And there he is, Eric. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me again. I got a question. How did the stream go? You said that the bandwidth wasn't very good. Drop out in places, other than when my phone rang.
Yeah, your stream was fine. In fact, it was better this afternoon than it was this morning.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's pretty interesting.
I mean, it's still a 240 feed, so
Yeah.
that means that this you can see yourself. You're a little delayed. It's not the clearest in the world, but
pixelated.
yeah, but we can tell who you are, and we can hear you very clearly. So that was okay.
And that's been auto decided by vMix. The software
Yes.
just said 240.
Based on
That's all you
available
get.
bandwidth. That's right.
That's funny because I've got 5 bars of LTE. I would think that I could do better than 240 off of that. Maybe
Well,
just the inconsistency.
the latency is really good. It's under 400 milliseconds,
Yeah, that's cool.
but we're only using
When you
about
stop and think about it, I'm on a cell phone sitting in a booth without anything plugged into it.
right. Yep. Well, good. Well, cool, man.
Yeah, well, that was fun. I got to get my shtick down a little bit better. There's so much, there's so many products here. It's really hard to wrap my head around it. They have this, not to keep going, but just to show you an example of something that I know nothing about that Yuan sells. Check this thing out. So this, I don't know how well you can see that at home, but this is tracking in real time 4 different 4K feeds, and it's analyzing them. If you look at this one down here, it's like, oh, that's a car, that's a car, that's a taxi, that's a car, that's a car, and it's got a little trail. So this is analyzing, how many cars, sedans, taxis, trucks, and buses are going through this image. And look at all the motorcycles. This one up here is analyzing a person. Even if they're not moving, it knows where that person is. This one's analyzing my live camera. So there's a Yuan an ADA camera up here. It knows where my face is, it knows where my head is, it knows where my body is. This one down here is doing that same shot, but it's doing it in the dark. So it's showing that even in the dark, it can catch that person walking across the street. So this is their AI deep learning SDK. So just to give you an example of all the stuff that I don't know about Yuan, that's one of them. There are a lot of products here that, you know, I gotta go to the website when somebody's like, hey, do you have a 4-channel SDI with one component? I'm like, huh, sounds like something they might do. And then I go and I look and I'm like, oh, sure enough, you can do 4 channels of SDI in one component. I mean, who would ever want to do that? Apparently some guy did, because they made a bunch of them.
How about that?
Yeah. Keeping track of their products is challenging. To give you I'm gonna wrap it up here and just give you a wide shot of the booth. If you look at their back wall there, you can see every single one of those little dots there is a product, and there's, you know, there's easily 100 of them there. And I think that's not all of the products that they have. Right? There's probably about 200 products. So.
Pretty cool, man.
That's my one little thing.
All right.
Cool. Well, thanks again for having us. That was fun. It's nice to know we can do a live show from a trade show.
There you go.
Different. I should just go to trade shows and just live stream them.
Now everybody's going to want to do it. Ryan is asking in the chat, what's the warranty on the Yuan products?
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean they're good products. We haven't had any break, so fingers crossed. Well, we did have one break, but that wasn't their fault. The customer hit it with I don't know. They scraped it when they were putting it into the box, and it broke one of the traces. So what we did with that one is we sent them a new one, and we sent the broken one back to Yuan, and they fixed it.
Well, and it's interesting about warranties because all of the products that we use in the systems we build, we have the manufacturer's warranty for as long as we do, but all of our custom built streaming PCs come with a 3-year warranty. So, in fact, we had somebody call the other day that had their system, I think, since February of 2016, so just about 2.25 years, and the PSU went out. So we sent them a new power supply. And it was a 10-year warranty on the power supply, so we would have thought that would have been the one that would have made it. Anyway, interesting thing about warranties. Eric, it was great.
Have a 2-year warranty, and it goes out at 2.25.
Yep.
That's the way things usually go. All right, I will let you wrap, and thanks again for having us on.
All right, man. We'll talk soon.
This is goodbye from Eric at InfoComm.
Goodbye from Eric at InfoComm. Finally, we get rid of him. Okay, we tried earlier, but he kept coming back. He's a good guy. All right, folks, I need to run, get ready for this next show, and figure out a way to do some things here in the studio so I don't look like an idiot. So it was great seeing you this week. I look forward to seeing you next week. That was a vMix call, yes, Amnon. Eric was calling from his cell phone, and coming in on vMix call. I can't give you the password. No, that's not good. Okay. All right. So, but we'll catch you guys next time. I'm gonna let the show run out for a little bit so I don't cut you right off, and we will see you. What happened to Full Duplex? He's Full Duplex. Yeah, he was Full Duplex. I just tried not to interrupt him very much. All right. So we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.